So it looks like LastPass left out a lot of information, i.e. lied. So let's check it out. What's up, guys? It's Josh back with another video, and today I have some more cyber news, and this was super interesting. I did a video a while back about LastPass. I actually did 2 videos on LastPass, and basically within both of those articles that I read, there were direct quotes from the CEO of LastPass, and she basically stated that no user data was actually taken from the site. Well, actually, that was a lie, and I wanted to cover this article today. So let's hop over there, hop right into it, and cover exactly what's going on in the cyber world when it comes to LastPass and its hack, and everything that was taken from the actual organization. So let's get to it. All right, so this article is on The Verge. Now I've seen it on multiple, websites where they covered this. It's actually been covered for the last couple days, and it just all this information came out like right before people went on break, which is kind of interesting, what I'm saying, how it was actually announced at this time period. But this article was written on December 22nd, 2022, and it was written by Mitchell Clark. I want to give him credit for actually putting this information out. I think this article was one of the first ones that I saw when it first came out. But as you can see, it says hackers stole encrypted LastPass password vaults. Now we all know that every time I read one of these articles, they said no user data was taken, i.e. vaults, that holds the passwords. Now we all know LastPass has made statements, basically that's kind of like their slogan. They don't even have access to the user vaults. Well, not saying that the people have access to it or the threat actors have access to these vaults, because they're still encrypted, but they can't get into it just like the threat actors can't get into it now, because they actually have a copy of it. So it says last month the company announced that threat actors had access to certain elements of customer information, just as many US workers are leaving for a holiday break. The company revealed that meant their encrypted passwords. So that's crazy. That's some information that should not have been left out in the original, report. They were basically trying to save face of the company, which I understand. I mean, this type of information can make or break your company, especially when it comes to, all your passwords to everything being stored within this vault that's on these people's website that someone else has access to. Now let's go down and read a little bit more, but it says LastPass has a doozy of an updated announcement about a recent data breach. The company, which promises to keep all your passwords in one secure place, is now saying that hackers were able to copy a backup of customer vault data, meaning they theoretically now have access to all those passwords if they can crack the stolen vaults. And that's essentially what they have to do in order to get the information. They have to crack these encrypted passwords. They need to know what algorithm was used to store these passwords and then try to crack them, using, word lists or something like that. And we all know a lot of people, when they set up these vaults, well, I'm only speculating, but a lot of people that set up these vaults, they think, okay, I'm using one of these vaults, so these passwords should be secure. I'm not sure. I never used LastPass before, but hopefully in there it recommends like strong passwords or very strong passwords when you're adding an account to it. It'll give you like a recommended password or something like that. That's super difficult. Otherwise, we all know people are lazy, and so they're going to just create a simple password, for whatever accounts that are being added to your vault, and then also hopefully you use something different, for your vault password, the actual password to get into the vault. If that's super easy, it's not that difficult for somebody to run a brute forcer against it and crack that password, especially if it's super easy and it may be in a a dictionary, you know what I'm saying, like password 123, you know what I'm saying, then yeah, it'd be super easy to get into it and have access to all your passwords. And that's why I recommend people use super strong passwords, especially when it comes to a vault password. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I use, because I really want to recommend people use this. And I'll do another video just covering it again. But I did a video a long time ago covering KeepItTechie. Now, it has, its good and bads to the application as well. But I'll talk about it a little more later in the video. But it says, if you have an account you use to store passwords and login information on LastPass, or you used to have one and hadn't deleted it before this fall, your password vault may be in hackers' hands. Still, the company claims you might be safe if you have strong master passwords, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I haven't read this article 100% through. I didn't even know they were going to talk about this, but yeah. If you got a weak, strong if you have a weak master password, you know what I'm saying, then, hey, you may be subject to, getting all your passwords decrypted, you know what I'm saying? Because once you decrypt that master password, it decrypts everything, so they have access to it. Now, it says, however, if you have a weak master password or less security, the company says that as an extra security measure, you should consider minimizing risk by changing passwords of websites you have stored. So definitely, that's something you want to do, especially, and see, that's the thing. This is why a lot of people probably should be upset with LastPass for not putting this information out sooner. You know what I'm saying? Basically saying that they have your vaults. If they have your vaults and they've had it for a number of months, then certain people's accounts probably have been, compromised. You know what I'm saying? If you would have put this information out earlier, at least that would have gave people time to change the passwords that are stored in those vaults. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of sucks that this company did this. I understand their company reputation is dependent on security, or people having secure ways of storing their passwords, but at the same time, if something happens like this, you got to let people know. You got to let them know so they can rectify it, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. Now, it says that might mean changing the passwords for every website you trusted LastPass to store. So yeah, if you stored a whole bunch of passwords in there, you know what I'm saying, then you might want to go through and change them all. Now, it says, while LastPass insists passwords are still secured by the account's master password, it's hard to just take its word at this point, given how it handled these disclosures. Yeah, that's 100%. I agree with that. Now, it says, when the company announced it had been breached in August, it said it didn't believe user data had been assessed. Then in November, LastPass said it detected an intrusion which apparently relied on information stolen in the August incident. So that's crazy. Now, it says it would have been nice to hear about that possibility sometime between August and November. Yes, 100% what I'm saying. You should have let people know. That's messed up that you guys didn't let people know. And to be honest, just to give you my opinion, people should stop using your service. For you to do that, you had all this time where you could have let people know, that their passwords may have been compromised. You had all that time and you chose not to let people know that. To me, you should stop using that service, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying, I don't have no ill will against this company. I'm just telling you, based on this situation and based on what they did, nobody should use that service, in my opinion. Now, it says that intrusion let someone gain access to certain elements of customer info. It turns out that those certain elements were, the most important and secret thing that LastPass stores. It says the company says there's no evidence that any unencrypted credit card data was accessed, but would likely have been preferable to what the hackers actually got away with. At least it's easy to cancel a credit card or two. Yes, it is. But all your passwords? That's crazy. It says, we'll get to know this all went down in a bit. But here's what LastPass CEO Korma Tuba is saying about the vaults being taken. It says a backup of customers' vaults was copied from cloud storage, so they did get it. And this is the direct quote right here. It says the threat actor was able to copy a backup of the customer vault data from the encrypted storage container, which is stored in a proprietary binary format that contains both unencrypted data, such as website URLs. So they at least know what the websites are, you know what I'm saying, such as website URLs, as well as the fully encrypted sensitive fields, such as website username and password. So that's all encrypted. But they know what sites you actually have accounts stored. So that gives them a lot of information to try to figure out what sites they want to go after, or what, you know, account information that they want to go after. Now it says, Tubu says, the only way a malicious actor will be able to get at the encrypted data, and therefore your passwords, will be with your master password. And that's true. That's the way it works. They have a master password. It's basically everything is stored in kind of like a database associated with your account. The only way to unlock everything that's in your database, your specific database, is the master password. Now it says, LastPass says it has never had access to the master passwords, and that's true. That's the way it works. They want to not have any access to it. Therefore, if something like this happens, then, and you use good security measures when it came to your passwords, at least for your master password, then someone wouldn't be able to, you know, get into that somewhat database. Now it says, that's why he says it would be extremely difficult to attempt to brute force guess master passwords. As long as you had a very good master password that you never reuse, which is the recommendation, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about with my application that I use. But yeah, as long as you use a master password that's super long, you never used it anywhere else, then you should be good to go. You know what I'm saying, as far as that vault being taken. But why the lies, guys? Why the lies? And as long as there wasn't any technical flaws in the way LastPass encrypted the data, though the company had made some pretty basic security errors before, which you guys might want to check out that article as well, because they made some basic security errors before. But whoever has this data could try to unlock it by guessing random passwords, aka brute forcing. And that's essentially what they'll do. I mean, you got brute forcers on Kali Linux, you know what I'm saying? You could just put a whole bunch of stuff in a dictionary, or create a dictionary, generate a dictionary, and run it against, you know, these vaults using the master password. And it's no timeout or anything, especially once you got the data stored locally. You can take as long as you want. It's no timeouts. Maybe they should put something in it where if it, I don't know, but that would be, well, whatever. I'm trying to think of a way they can I don't care. But it says LastPass says that using its recommended defaults should protect you from that kind of attack, but it doesn't mention any sort of feature that would prevent someone from repeatedly trying to unlock. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking about. That's exactly what I was trying to think about. Like, I don't think it prevents, especially once they store it locally. They can run a brute forcer, you know, 24/7 against vaults without it timing out, or without it, you know, let's say wiping the data. That's what I was thinking about, like a bomb or something. Not a bomb, but like a way to destroy all the data after so many attempts. You know what I'm saying? That would be, you know, something they put in place, at least for something that's copied, you know what I'm saying, or copied down from the original location. Then it'll tie, I don't know, like piece of malware to it, so it'll, you know, wipe the data out of the vaults, you know, after so many tries. But currently it looks as though the people, you know, have free reign on brute forcing this thing. So yeah, it'll take forever, but I'm just saying that it'll take a long time, especially if you have very complex passwords, at least for your master password. But if it's simple, if your password is super simple, you know, it may not take them too long to get into it. You know what I'm saying? Says there's also the possibility that people's master passwords are accessible in other ways. If someone reused their master password, yeah, and that's the problem right there. If you've used it, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, hey, you kind of screwed. Now it also says, it also worth mentioning or noting that if you have an older account prior to the newer default settings introduced in 2018, a weaker password strengthening process may have been used to protect your master password. According to LastPass, its current uses a stronger than typical implementation of 100,100 interactions of the password-based key derivation function. But when a Verge staff member checked their older account using a link the company included in his blog, it told them their account was set at 5,000 iterations. So perhaps the more concerning bit is the unencrypted data, given that it includes URLs. It could give hackers an idea of which websites you have accounts with if they decide to target particular users. That could be powerful information when combined with phishing and other types of attacks. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. You know what I'm saying? By them having those URLs unencrypted, then people know who they want to go after and filter out what they want to go after. You know what I'm saying? That's just great information, for the hackers. Now it says, while none of that is a great news, it all something that could, in theory, happen to any company storing secrets in the cloud. In cybersecurity, the name of the game isn't having a 100% perfect track record. It's how you react to disasters when they happen. And that's exactly my point. You know what I'm saying? They reacted to this super wrong, in my opinion. And then right here it says, making the announcement today on December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas, a time when many IT departments will largely be on vacation and when people aren't likely to be paying attention to updates from their password manager. So that's super bad. You know what I'm saying? It says also the announcement doesn't get to the part about the vaults being copied until 5 paragraphs in. And while some of the information is bolded, I think it's fair to expect that some major announcements would be at the very top. Now it says LastPass says that the vault's backups wasn't initially compromised in August. In its story is that the threat actors used information from breach to target an employee who had access to a third-party cloud storage service. The vaults were stored in and copied from one of his volumes accessed in that cloud storage. I don't know why I keep saying accessed. Along with backups containing basic customer information or account information and related metadata. That includes things like company names, end user names, billing addresses, email addresses, telephone numbers, and IP addresses from which customers were accessing the LastPass service. So that's crazy right there too. That's a lot of information right there. They can figure out, what companies they want to go after or what customers they want to go after based on, information, that they gain from there. Now, I want to go through the rest of this. You can read the rest of this. I'll have this link down in the description of the video. But like I said, this was a crazy story right here, man. And it's good that I was able to, follow along with the whole story, because I think I started with that first hack in August. And then I covered the one in September or a couple weeks ago when I put that latest article out about it, about them going into the, the servers again, and now, they released all this information. So this crazy story is definitely something you need to pay attention to. If you're using LastPass, I recommend you go down and move all your stuff. Go down and remove all your passwords, change all your passwords on the sites, and then use a different password manager. Now I know all of them are not, I don't recommend any of them, to be honest. The one I recommend is KeepItTechie, and actually let's go to that right fast so I can show you guys. But KeepItTechie, so KeepItTechie. And the reason I use this one, it's not .exe, it's exe.org. This is the password manager I use. It's a local password manager. It's not stored, in anybody's cloud, unless you want to store it there, and that's something that I do just in case my local system, fails in any way. I have a backup of it somewhere, but you can encrypt it before you even put it up there, so it'll be double encrypted. The database is encrypted, and then you put the encrypted file up there. Once you encrypt it again, if you want to, that's double encryption. And I use that kind of like as a backup, and people won't even know it's really a vault in any way. It's essentially works the exact same way, except you don't have any company controlling it. You're not dependent on a company. You're dependent on your own personal security and what you do to make yourself secure. You are in control of what you do with this. So essentially, you can install it on Linux, you can install it on Windows, and I believe you can install it on Mac OS. I'm sure you can. But yeah, this is an open source project. It's basically an encrypted database with a master password, just like LastPass. It's a database. It holds all your passwords, in that one little database that's encrypted. It's locked using your, master password. You can also have an encryption file or encryption file that unlocks your database as well. But it uses 256-bit AES, which is the standard. And it's essentially a safe of all your passwords, and it's all offline. It's not in anyone's cloud, unless someone is particularly trying to hack you and they get into your system some kind of way and they get this database. That's the only way they can get it. At the end of the day, you ain't got to be dependent on some company like LastPass, which we all can see based on the articles that it's probably not a good idea, especially with these cloud platforms, storing all your personal information, and it's controlled by someone else. This will be controlled by you, and it works pretty much the same. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave comments down in the comments, and also give me your thoughts on this crazy situation with LastPass, and if they should have did a better job on announcing this information out. And then also, if you use LastPass, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you planning on staying with them? Are you planning on leaving, going to another password manager? And also, what password manager you're gonna use if you switch to a different one? But hope you guys have a wonderful day, and of course, keep it techie.